All right. Hello, everyone. This is Samantha Galbo from One Thrive, also host of Mommy is Thriving. Today's guest is someone I'm really excited to talk to. She's a mom of three, an autism activist, a brilliant content creator, and the inspiring voice behind Stay at Home Zookeeper. What I admire most about her is how she brings order, empathy, and humor to the beautiful chaos of family life. Siraya Gloudemans, so excited to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, me too. This is awesome. I'm like, we talk all the time, but like
Yes.
recording is something else. So this is kind of awesome. Well, if you're ready, let's dive right in. I got a couple questions here for you.
Yeah, let's
Uh,
go.
awesome. So let's rewind a bit. And my first question for you is what inspired you to start sharing your life and story as the stay at home zookeeper?
It actually started so my father lived 900 miles from me. So it started as a journal to keep my dad in the loop. And then I realized my husband was saying funny things and how many times we said just to be a fly on the wall and have, everyone see our story. It's like a reality show. So I started putting it on social media because I feel like I live in a reality show. And
No, for sure you
then
do. Mhm.
Yeah, pretty much. And then when I was nursing my daughter and she nursed a lot. So I was on my phone constantly. And I'm like, I should make money sitting here on my phone instead of spending all of my money sitting on this phone. So then I started doing a little bit more of the content creating. I was trying to work with a lot of small shops and I was following all the small shops and trying to do all the things with the small shops. And I just wasn't growing a following that way. So I decided to switch it up and just share what I know and to educate others. And if a small shop fit into that, then kind of go that way. And then the numbers grew. So then more small shops were interested because it was not focused on being a content creator, but being on a lifestyle sharer. And then it grew that way. And so I grew a lot of friends, online friends. And then it kind of just every now and then I'd share something. My laundry room post went viral 2 years ago.
That's awesome.
2023, a laundry post went viral and numbers shot through the roof. And then it made it exciting and fun. And then I put more into it because I was actually having fun. It wasn't all about the numbers anymore. It was like, all right, what else can I give you these people that they'll actually like? And it has grown exponentially since then. And it's now a way to have a community for having a child with special needs. You feel isolated a lot, so it's a community with that, not only for me but to provide that which I was seeking when we were going through it, but then also with my teaching background, a lot of background of why we do the things we do. And I've been that 4K teacher with 23 4-year olds, so here's what you should have your kids really know before you go. And it's how to put on their shoes, how to put on their coat. And here's why I have what I have in my house. If it would help, pick and choose what would help in your house. And then people have really resonated with that. And then again, when people care, it's so much more fun to do.
Exactly, exactly. You feel like you actually have people, you have a community that you're talking
Yes.
to. So that's huge. That's huge. And the mommy creator space is so amazing right now. I just feel like because all of us, pretty much that are in that space, we were moms during COVID, during a time where we went through a lockdown and created these online communities. And I really think that like that was the time that we like had to figure it out, right? It was
Yeah.
kind of do it or be sheltered, right? Like
Yeah.
we had
Yeah.
to kind of keep on keeping on because we couldn't hang out with people unless you had like a pod
Yeah.
that you were in, right? And that was really hard for so many of us. So,
Yes. It was really a struggle for us too, because my oldest is the one who is nonverbal autistic. So he was in therapies and all of stuff. So I lost the waiting rooms. I didn't realize how much I connected to people who were going through what I was going through in a waiting room. So just when we went on lockdown, just me losing that waiting room and that small talk with someone who got it
right.
was a really big thing.
Yeah,
But
they were
then
in the
my
same
son,
part of life as you were.
yeah.
So,
And then my youngest is he's April 2019. So his first birthday party was scheduled and then canceled due to the lockdown. So, and then I have a little dancer girl in between. We did the whole virtual dance classes and all of that. So it was filling a lot of voids where I was going through it with my first colicky child, which ended up being lactose intolerant. So then figuring all that out on social media, and then my waiting room friends, and then I have 3 kids, 7 and under, and it was a lot all at once. That community kept me sane. It kept me grounded, and it gave me friends when it felt pretty lonely.
Isolation, for sure, for sure. I mean, you wear so many hats: mom, educator, advocate, creator. Can you paint a picture of what a typical day in your world looks like? I know that's a big ask because I feel like not two of your days ever looks the same. And I feel like that's what is the beauty of Soraya. Like you're so good at adapting and figuring it all out. But talk to me a little bit about that.
So it is hard because with a child with autism, you also have often sleep issues. So my son was diagnosed with insomnia at 2. He was actually diagnosed with insomnia before autism. So he is actually, you never know when he's going to wake up. It might be 3 a.m. for the day, and it might be 8 a.m. for the day. And you kind of let him lead.
Right.
We do
Exactly.
not wake him unless it's absolutely necessary. But usually he's still the first one up. And so we wake up with him, and then my husband usually leaves for work right around the school rush time. So during the school year, I get the kids ready, he gets him ready, but then he actually drives to the work while dropping off at the bus stop. But then my son's on the special education bus, so then that pulls into our driveway. So I stay with him, and then we both get the kids off to the bus about the same time in 2 different locations. And then during the school year, it's a lot of content creation. I take what's going on in my daily life and I videotape it. And that makes it take twice as long, which is it's a double-edged sword. Like it's like, oh, it's what's relevant in my life. It's not really going to work because it's what I'm doing anyway, but it takes twice as long. So then it is work.
Yeah, for sure.
um, During the summer, we have a lot more things to navigate. We have gymnastics during the summer, so we go do that. Um, my son's really struggling with the lack of routine and the lack of like having a purpose and going somewhere. So we've made an effort to leave the house for something. So if we don't have gymnastics, I take them all 3 grocery shopping or
Wow.
Target
I
returns
don't
or
ever
anything
want to
like
take
that.
both of my children grocery shopping. So
And
like that makes
it definitely has its hurdles because he is getting too big for a shopping cart, but he does not necessarily walk, and he is an eloper, so he'll run away. So we have a wonderful wagon, and we got the W4 because it can hold up to 300 pounds. It can have, I think it's 100 pounds on each bench seat. So he's under that. So he can be in his wagon, and I pop one of the chairs out and use it as my cart, and
that's
then
insane.
the other 2 tag along. And it's hard. Some days he's overstimulated in the store, but he's overstimulated at home, so at least we're out getting checklist things done. Just the other day my husband was like, why don't you just go to the park if he needs to get out of the house? I'm like, the park isn't on the list, the grocery shopping is. So if I'm gonna have to leave, I need to do 2 things that are multitasking.
Right,
And I
of
think
course.
that's the biggest thing is I stack everything. If I'm waiting in a waiting room, then I'm trying to type out a blog post at that time. If I am have to get out of the house, we're going to do it with grocery shopping, and I'm trying to always be doing 2 things at once.
I give you all the credit in the world because that is so difficult. I'm like, I feel like I have trouble rubbing my stomach and patting my head most days. So um, I can't even. I'm like, I only have two, and I feel like they're going in opposite directions at every moment of every day. I'm like the organized chaos that we both go through. I mean,
Yeah.
I share with you in that one so much because that totally resonates with me and my story and where I am in life. And I think so many parents can relate, but you make it work, and so
Yep.
beautifully so, if I must say, because
Yep.
you are so inspiring. And going off of our organized chaos,
Mhm.
duplicity that we got going on, talk to me a little bit about what organization looks like in your home. Are there certain routines, visual cues,
Mhm.
or what tools really keep you and the fam grounded and organized in our chaos that is our daily lives?
So for me, a lot of it is that the kids can do it themselves so that I don't have to do things I don't need to do. So because a lot of the time I have to be dealing with my oldest, which is so the opposite of what you're used to. You know, your oldest usually helps you and you wrangle up the littles, and then eventually you outgrow that, where I stay with this one child the whole time and the siblings grow up and they kind of pass and help out. So a lot of our systems are set up so that they can do the things they know how to do so that I don't have to do them. So anything that is a standard routine, we have picture schedules of. First, you do this, 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 this in the order you do it, and it's in pictures so they can figure it out pre literacy. And sometimes I feel a lot of like I'm putting a lot of pressure on them to figure out how to do it themselves a little young. I have an 18-month-old who can do his entire bedtime routine with the help of this picture schedule. Do I feel like I'm making them grow up too fast sometimes? But also it's self-help skills. So it's things they're gonna need. So if they learn how to go from putting their pajamas on to brushing their teeth before they're two, is that really making them grow up too fast? I find these dilemmas because, like I said, being the younger siblings and then passing a brother, I don't want to put too much pressure on them to grow up too fast. But also, if you know how to do it, there's no reason I should be doing it for you.
Exactly,
And so
exactly.
that is how I structure a lot of things. So we have a lot of picture schedules.
You're
We
so
have
good at
a
giving the kids the tools to do it too.
Yes,
You're, like, teaching them how to be executive function so you can
yes,
work on your own executive functioning, right?
yes,
And that's such the hardest thing. I mean, we say that moms, we struggle the most with executive functioning because we're doing it for every single person around us,
yes,
and, like, you figuring that out and living that and being like, "Okay, yeah, they might be doing it a little younger
mhm,
than normal, but
yes,
hey, what's normal anymore? I don't
right.
know."
And school is getting so much younger. Like they are
For
going to
sure.
school now. We have in Wisconsin, we our public school system has 4-year-old kindergarten in the public school system. It's not
Mhm.
required, but it most people do it. And when that's what I taught too. So then that's what I have is these babies coming in. And so I think what the teacher, if the teacher doesn't have to work on them doing these basic life skills, then they can actually start working on the fun stuff.
Exactly.
So we have a picture schedule for waking up, and we call it the upstairs chart. So they have their waking up until they come downstairs. And then we have like the morning downstairs chart, and then the packing up chart. And being in Wisconsin, we have a winter one and a summer one. So you have to pack your shoes and wear your snow gear during the winter, and in the summer and or in the fall and the spring, you don't necessarily need to bring winter clothes, but you wear your shoes. We don't need a water bottle necessarily. So there's a winter chart and a warm chart is what cold chart and warm chart is what we call it. And then we have a chart for when you come home from school, the order you do all of the things, and then a chart for going to bed. And those are all pictures. There's no words on them, but it's a picture of them doing the things, which I find really helpful because if you take a picture of like their bed and it says make bed, that is what a made bed looks like. Your made bed looks like. So if you're okay with just the stuffed animals lining the wall and that's a made bed, if you have a picture of that being their made bed, then they can replicate that. And so that was huge, is like to use the picture so they know what that looks like. And
Those visual cues are awesome.
yes,
Like, that's
yes,
genius because, like, yeah, you can say, "Okay, but" so for I have an almost 4-year-old, and she always struggles with which foot goes in which shoe,
mhm,
and so, like, I'm trying to figure that one out right now to be
mhm,
like, because 'cause I'm always like, "Okay, put your shoes on," and she's like, "But mommy, you didn't tell me which foot."
Mhm.
I'm like, "Ah." I, like, can't figure that one out. So if you have a real good tip for that one, let me
I do.
know. Okay, tell me.
Take a sticker,
Okay.
a bigger sticker, cut it in half, and put one half in one shoe and one in the other, so they have to put the sticker
Oh
together.
my god, I love that. Ugh, Siraya, changing my life every single day. Let me tell you, it's so true. But yeah, no, I totally get it. Those visual cues are so important, and that's just awesome. I know you use our One Thrive system in your
Yep.
space, so talk to me a little bit how you integrate that, how that's helped support your executive functioning for yourself and the
Mhm.
children and all of that and everything in your family.
Sure. We actually have three. So I have the center. It is
Yeah.
called the center. It is the command center of the home. That was the first one I got. It is in, we have like a little walkway between our dining room and our living room,
Mhm,
and it is hanging on that wall. And that has the month calendar, the week calendar, and then a small chalkboard and a cork board.
mhm,
And we pin the downstairs morning routine to the downstairs cork board. And then on the week routine, we have, I love it. It's a blessing and a curse. We have three lunch choices for hot lunch per child. And then if they don't like those lunch choices, they can take cold lunch. So we go through the menu, and every week in their color code, each kid has their own color. So in their color code, we write C or H for each day of the week. So then on Monday we look, and I have a blue C and two at a pink H and a green H. So I'm like, all right, we need one cold lunch and it's to this kid. And so we go through and do that, and the kids all know. They ask a question, I just say check the center. Like, I don't hold that in my brain anymore. I try to release it to the center, and then if you need to know, check the center. And on Sunday, every Sunday, I reset the week calendar. I check the lunch menu. I check the special schedule, because our specials also aren't like, we don't have library every Monday. We have library every 5 school days. So that shifts throughout the week, or 6 school days. So it shifts every time, because if there's a no school day, they were always missing the Friday specials or whatever. So now it shifts. So library is written on the in your color. So Sunday is a big reset day. But then after that, it's gone. When are my library books due? I have no idea. Go check for lib written in your color. I let it go after that, and that has been crucial.
how
Like,
freeing
letting
is
it
that?
go. Yeah. It's so freeing. And even like every now and then they'll be like, when do I have the check the center? Just go check it. Like, I have released that from my brain. I could go look it up, but so could you. And that's where coming back to, if you know how, there's no reason I should have to do it for you. And that's one of the big reasons we did the color coding, is because pre-literacy, my kid's in 4K, he can't read yet, but if he sees something written on a day of the week in green, he knew he had something. And he's like, does this mean I have library day, or does this mean I have gym shoes? And that I could answer. So, like, it brought in a lot of pre-literacy where I didn't have to read it to them. But then when they were getting to that literacy, it's like, well, is it an L or a G? And you're bringing in that literacy, and then you could use that as a teaching tool in itself. And now everyone at least knows their letters, and they know at least L means library. And so we're getting there.
We're
We're
exactly, one step in front of the other, one shoe in front of the
Yes.
other, right? You know?
Yes.
No, I totally that resonates with me so much because my littlest Winnie, she's, turning 4 next month, and same, like, knows her letters now, so I'm like, "Okay." She's like, "There's something pink on the board. What is it?" And I'm like, "Winnie, what letter does it start with?" She's like, "G." I'm like, "Winnie, does ballet or gymnastics start with G?" And she's like, "Gymnastics." And I'm like,
Yes.
"There we go.
Yes.
Fantastic." So, for me, my mom was an educator, and so with my son, I realized now looking back, like, she was always doing pre-literacy with him, knowing
Yep.
his letters, different sounds. And I
Yep.
feel like my daughter, unfortunately, because my mom passed away 3 years ago, like, she didn't really get that with her, and I
Right.
realized, like, it wasn't something that I was doing, so now I'm like, "Okay, wait, I need to start
Yes.
bringing this back," and the One Thrive Center has really helped me do
Mhm.
that because
Yeah.
I'm putting things up there in her color, which I got because of you, so thank you so very much for that, and So we also, so Soraya does a lot of the color coding. She has a color for each of her children. She has a color for herself and her husband, and everything is color coded on the exactly. And it just, that in and of itself is so freeing, because then you realize, okay, every person is responsible for their own
Yep.
activities, or at least is aware of their own activities, right?
Yep.
And it's just, it kind of changes your perspective and the way you're thinking about your schedule, and your scheduling for your children and yourself, and that's just huge to me.
Mhm.
So what are some of the things that are always on your command centers? I know you said you have your upstairs, your downstairs, you have, and then your
Then my work one.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I know you have a lot of different things in there. So you have your clothing and your to-do list upstairs, and then
Yep.
downstairs, I know you said you have meals and things like that. What else, and scheduling, what else is
Yep.
always on there?
So on the upstairs one, we call that the kids center,
Okay.
and that has dress up days, so you can know if you have to wear something out of the ordinary, and again, written in your color. And then we have a if we made the small to do board into an if then. So if, and then I have three temperature kind of gauges. So I have a medium, which is like a sun and a snowflake on it. And then I have a sun and a snow. And then I clip up what the weather is. And then I say if that's a choice of like shorts and t shirts or shorts and pants, or you need to wear long sleeves and pants, which is most of our school year here. But that helps so they can get dressed in the morning. They can go look, do I have a special dress up day? Do I have what's the weather? And then they can get dressed themselves. And then on there is also my son is very oral, so he wears chewy jewelry. They're like a rubber necklace or clip. So those hang on there. So every morning he gets up and then we clip that on his shirt right away. And then he has headphones, sound canceling headphones. He doesn't have to wear them all the time, so they are there so he can find one. One's on every floor, so they're hanging on there. So if he's too much loud upstairs, he can pop them on. And then at night, if we do take them off, we hang them there or downstairs, so there's always accessible. So that's mostly what's on our upstairs one is how to get yourself dressed and out the door, and then sensory needs being met. And then downstairs we have our picture schedule and basically how to get out the door. That is more of the out the door, how to command our life. What appointments do we have? It's if you're going to be out the door, it's going to be written on there. And then again, the sensory stuff, which needs to be quick grab for us. So we have jewelry hanging downstairs. We also have headphones always hanging on it. And then like that's basically how it breaks down is get yourself ready or get us out the door. Sensory needs, sensory needs.
You're you're inspiring, I swear. I'm like, every time you tell me something, I learn something else, and I'm like, "Wow, that's awesome. That's so brilliant. I need to do that." I'm like, I learned something about our systems, which, are
Yeah.
pretty ingrained in my brain, but
Yeah.
the way that's the beauty of the One Thrive, honestly, like,
Mhm.
not to go into a sales pitch or anything, but it's so customizable, and you really
Yes.
make what you need out of it,
Mhm.
right? And how you do it for your family, it just really works for you. And no, will it
Yeah.
work for everyone? Definitely not. But there are so many different pieces that I take from it. Every time we have a conversation, I learn something else. Like, okay, so not even just One Thrive, but you recently traveled with your family, and then I know you're going on another trip with your family. And the way you travel and you organize, I just I can't. And so, with your one child that is neurodivergent and everything else, like the way you are so meticulous in all of that, you got to let our audience in on a little bit of your secrets, because when I tell you, it is mind-boggling how immaculate she is with all of these intricacies of the organization. Mind blown.
So, for our traveling, the biggest hack I have, and again, this does not work for everyone, but this is my for me is the pre-packed bags. So we have four bags that are always packed. We have the rain bag, the swim bag, the sleep bag, and then the dog bag. And so in our rain bag is a pair of rain boots for everyone, a raincoat for everyone, and then umbrellas. And So when you are going on a trip, you have all of your rain gear packed because I'm not the one who it's raining, we're sitting inside. Like we're putting on the rain gear, we're going outside when we're traveling. The only time that doesn't come with us is when we're flying, but then there's a pencil case that says rain and it's ponchos, and that is also packed. So we're not staying in if it's raining. And so that
Not for
is
nothing, staying in when it's raining, I feel like is more difficult than going
yes,
out when it's raining. Like, if I'm inside and it's
absolutely.
raining,
Yeah,
yeah, mhm,
yes. And so we have that pre-packed, but then a lot of people were, when I brought this up, they were like, well, I don't have money for two of everything. We don't either. So we have this one bag, and it's one of those, it used to be like the 31 totes, but now they have them at Target, like they call them like collapsible laundry totes or something like that. So they have the wire to kind of keep this rectangle shape, but
mhm.
so it's one of those. And we actually keep it on a shelf in our garage. And if it starts raining at home, you take your raincoat out of there, you wear it, you use it, you dry it, and then when it's put away back in the bag. Like its home is the bag. And we've had no problems with having just one set of that. The other bag is our swim bag, and that is a bog bag that is packed with, always has the sunscreen, always has the bug spray, has the flat towels that fit all five of them in there, and
Yes, I
then
just bought
goggles.
those. Mhm,
Yes.
mhm,
Mhm.
mhm.
And then goggles, swim shoes, basically, and a couple swim toys.
Well,
So again, if you want to go swimming at a friend's house, take your goggles, go swim, but then they go back in the bag when you come home, and then you always, again, time to leave, you just take the beach bag and you're good to go. When we fly, we take all of that and put it in packing cubes that are mesh, because then if you go to the sand, you can shake out the sand of the mesh packing cube and they can continue drying. So mesh packing cubes when we fly with all of that same stuff.
I can't.
And then
Good.
the sleep bag holds a weighted blanket for my son. All of the cords, monitors, chargers are in there. Extension cords, because there's never a cord where you need it when you're trying to set up a baby monitor when you travel anywhere. And power strips, because you're always going to need more plugs. So there's a power strip, extension cords, all of that in this bin, and it just lives in the bin, in the sleep bin. And then nebulizer or anything medical is also in there for us. And then if it stays in the closet downstairs or up by our bedroom, so if you have an asthma attack in the middle of the night, you take your nebulizer out, use it, put it back in the bag, and you're packed to go again. And then the dog bag has a food bowl, food dish, water dish, leash, all of that's in there. And again, it hangs in the garage. You need to take dog for a walk, you take it with the leash, but then you throw it back in the bag. So then when we take the dog to with us, cottage, or to a pet sitter, everything's all in one. So when it comes to leaving for a trip, we don't have to pack those things. We know they're in there. They know where, like we have an inventory. If the sunscreen runs out, you replace it. So we always have those packed. So when we are going to the cottage, it's literally throw in the swim bag, throw in the rain bag, throw in the sleep bag, throw in the dog bag, and now all we need is clothes. And then when it's our bigger trips, like we're going on a big camping trip, it's all of those things. And then we need to pack a set of drawers that we have with the kitchen utensils, the snacks, and things like that. And flying, we basically take those bags and empty them into packing cubes so that they can dry, and they come that way in the same compartments. Like I keep them, they get their own packing cubes so that they are the same sorted out item. And it has made packing very efficient because you don't have to recreate the wheel ever. It's just,
I feel like so many people are so afraid to travel and feel like it's such a
mhm,
burden, and I feel like you've taken that and you're like, "Okay, I can't make this a burden. We want to do
mhm,
this. We need to do this, and this is how we're gonna do that." And it's just like, I love that. I love it so much, and I feel like you take away, like, the uh, anticipation, right? Like you kind of anticipate it all, right? You have your rain stuff, you have your swim stuff, you have your charging stuff, which not for nothing, let me tell you how many times I've forgotten a charger on a trip between work
yep,
and kids and everything. But yeah, I mean, I love it. I love it so much. I was telling my husband, I think last night he was asking me like what the podcast we were talking about today, and I was like,
mhm,
"Oh my god, Robbie, you have to hear what Siraya does with all of her little cubes and these things from Target, and she labels them and the labeling and the this." And he was like, "That sounds amazing." He's like,
Yes.
"We'd never forget anything again." And I
Yeah.
was like, "Exactly."
Yes.
And for us, like, it's the comfort of knowing that we didn't forget anything, right? Like,
Mhm.
for me, that's such a pain point of my anxiety. I'm always like, it's always the mental checklist, and so with my OneThrive, I kind of, like, write everything down, and, like, when my husband and I went to Europe, a couple months ago, I put the night before we left, I put, like, on there the things that I needed to make sure we had, right? Like, you need your passport, you need the
Yep.
money, you need your wallet. I was like, and I need my inhaler. Like, those are the things, and potentially
Yep.
my crazy pills. But, like, those were the ones that were on the list
Yes.
that I was like, "This is the stuff that I need to make sure I have."
Mhm.
Everything else, whatever.
Yep.
It's fine. I can buy it there. But, like, those were the things, you know? So, what would you say to a parent that's afraid of traveling because they worry, about their child with the changing and all of the differentiation and the changing of the schedule and everything else with traveling? I'm like, you are a pro, so give it to me, mama.
Well, it started with necessity. My brother was getting married 900 miles from us. So we gotta go, and it's not a choice. And that kind of, and like we had to figure it out. We have to go to my brother's wedding. And so we road tripped that one. No, I lied. We flew that one because we could not fathom an autistic 5-year old, a 4-year old, and a 6-month old for 16 hours in the car. I could not figure out how to entertain them for that many hours. So we decided to fly because even though there's airport chaos, there is less hours of chaos of traveling chaos. So we opted to fly, and it was a lot, but I took the, what are you going to be most worried about? Nolan having a sensory meltdown was number one. Okay, what do you do if you have a sensory meltdown? And I packed the things for that. And then I'm next worried someone's going to get sick. All right, we'll have a first aid kit and all of the meds. Okay, now what are you worried about? That they're going to have fun in the pool and be entertained. Okay, then you pack the entertainment. And then after that, it's like, all right, if we have avoiding a meltdown, something for them to do, and in case they get sick, pack clothes, and that's all that's left. And we approached it that way. We are prepared for the three worst things that could happen. Let's do this, and let's hope for the best but prepare for the worst is kind of how we approach it. And they did so well. Our flight got delayed, and then it got canceled, and then it got delayed and canceled. And my brother drove, and he dropped us off at the airport, and then started driving home. And then when we boarded the plane, he was 4 hours from home. So we only made it home like an hour and a half before him. But I wasn't in a car. I was still able to move around the airport and do the things. And I mean, we're like, well, if we survived going that poorly, we can do anything. So then we started branching out. All right, so we survived that. We survived of 9 hours in a tiny airport delay. What else can we do? So then we started going on weekends away at a hotel, just close. So if it all went wrong, we could go home. And then we got braver, and they got older, and they had more self-help skills. And we're like, let's go on a spring break trip, and let's drive because it's cheaper. And we drove the 16 hours, and that my dad lived again in South Carolina from Wisconsin. So we have to see grandpa. We haven't seen grandpa in a couple years. And so we were like, we have to go. We're going to use our spring break to do it, but we're driving this time. And that was a whole other element. I would rather be stuck in an airport where I can move and get the sensory breaks and things like that than be stuck in a car and they are just done and there's nothing you can do about it. But we also survived that. So if we can survive that, we know we're like, where do we want to go and what's cheaper and is there a direct flight? And we got our confidence went up. But we just, like, we really approach it as hope for the best, prepare for the worst, and just have the things for, like, pick your worst case scenarios and have the things for it. And then remember that it is a trip, not a vacation.
That it, as my girlfriend says, it's a work trip. Every trip
Yes.
with the family is a work trip. And I'm like,
Yes.
you're not wrong. It's just like a
No.
different type of work, right?
Yes.
Yeah, no. And going about that and understanding it, for you, what helps to take the mental load away from that, right? Like, how do you, I mean, I know you with your planning and all of that, right? Like, but what helps you manage all of the moving pieces of life, of traveling, all of it together? Like, how do you cope with that, quite frankly?
A lot of color coding. um, for me, it's again, it's really helping teaching the family how to help me. So I try not to have it all on my shoulders. So even before we leave for a trip, if there are my jobs, they're written in my color on the to-do list. So if I need to clean out the sink and get the carpet shampooed before we leave, it's in my color. But if my husband needs to mow the lawn and I would like him to load the car, then it's in his color. And then I, again, am teaching these self help skills to the kids. So then if it is in their color, it's their job. You can carry all the things off the stairs and put them up at least by the door of the bedroom they belong in. And so I'll write stairs in their color. And um, we make things as much of a game as possible. So packing our luggage is something we all do together. I have the oldest because he's not able to do that himself yet. And then I do his and I yell out what I'm looking for. We need 5 underwear for this trip. And everyone dashes to their 5 underwear and they grab it and they put it in their unders box. And then we move on to socks and we pack our stuff in the same order every time. There's no surprises. I try not to surprise my children. I try to make things routine so nothing's a surprise. We always go underwear, socks, swimsuit, pajamas, then move on to sleep things, and then flip our suitcase, and then we go bottoms, long to short, tops, long to short. So we always have everything. They know what's coming next. I still shout it out, and we all do it together to make sure I get to hear a done before we move on to the next thing. But I make everything routine and teach the routine and expect them to help you with the routine and have little chores like on Tuesdays they carry up everything off the stairs. On Mondays they clean their bedroom floors so the Roomba can run. I don't vacuum, but it's top floor tidy. The vacuum runs, so have Monday have your jobs done, and then clean up the bath mat when you're done with the bath. Not hard, but helps me out in the bathroom. Put a bath toys out and bath mat up. That's their Wednesday job. Thursdays they have to clean up the mudroom because they come in from dance and they just put your dance stuff away, and that's pretty much cleaning up that room. And Fridays putting their laundry away because all of the drawers are labeled with what goes in there. So all you have to do is put it in the same predictable spot it always has been. And they dress themselves so you know where they got from, so you know where they go. And I fold it, I put it in piles by drawer. So I try to scaffold that's process, but again, make it a routine and make it an expectation that they follow that routine. And then half of that's on me. So I can make an announcement of what is going on and the team can pitch in and help me. And we call ourselves a family team. So we're like, all right, let's go team. And the teamwork makes the dream work is a very big phrase in our house. So I'll yell like teamwork and they're like, makes the dream work. And we know we can't do these things by myself. I say I'm honest with them, especially my daughter who's 9. I'm like, my brain can't. I cannot hold all that you are telling me and all that needs to happen all by myself. I need this family to be a family team so that we can get out the door. This isn't me getting us out the door, it's so we can get out the door. And then they're like, oh, okay. Then I guess if we want to get out the door, I better get my shoes off the floor and pick up the stairs. And so that really has kind of been my key. And that goes back to my teaching days. That goes back to if you teach them how to do it and expect them to do it, they can do it. And then they're going into the world with self-help skills. And that goes to the special needs. If he's not surprised, then he's not going to have a meltdown. And if you have all of the things for his meltdown, then and you know where to find them quickly, then you can shorten it and help him and relieve that. So all these things that I've been through in my life have taught me that I can't do it myself. And if you teach them how to help you, they can. And then I have a little less of the workload.
That's amazing. That's amazing. It's so true. I feel like that's kind of your mantra. If you like give the children the capability and the
Mhm.
tools to do it themselves and educate them on how to do it themselves, then they will do it themselves. And
Yeah.
they're kind of more empowered to do it as well,
Mhm.
right? I think
Yeah.
that, so many times we're like, "Ugh, don't worry about it. I'll just put your shoes on." And it's like,
Yeah.
no, like they are capable of putting their
Yep.
shoes on if you let them and you teach them how to do it.
Yes.
Yes, sometimes it might take a little bit more time, but you know what? It's
Yep.
one less thing for you to be doing. And I feel like
Yes.
as moms, we're so like, oh, but we gotta go and we gotta do and we gotta be there. And it's like, if you're a couple minutes late, I mean, it's okay.
Yes.
I mean, that's the way I am. But all right. So
And it started young, where I was trying to put on three kids' shoes, and I couldn't put on three kids' shoes and get out the door. So if I teach them, when we're on lockdown during COVID anyway, and we have nowhere to be but the backyard, if I teach them how to put on their shoes, eventually when it's time to leave, my workload's cut into a third. So it came that way. We're like, yeah, it takes longer now, but once we learn the skill, it's actually faster later.
right,
And that was a big thing. And I like set up my house also to be at their level. So I realized if I don't have to reach the cups, I don't have to always get them a cup. So now all of our cups are on the bottom shelf, because then they can grab their color coded cup and fill it with water all by themselves. And I don't have to stop. And their shoe bins are written in their color on their little shoe bin, and then they can put their shoes away before they can read, because they can see green even if they don't know that that color's green. So it goes all down to like pre-literacy, but also setting it up at their height. If they can reach their clothes, we don't hang clothes because my kids, none of them, nobody can reach hanging clothes. So if they can reach it, then they can do it themselves. And so it all comes down to like my house is set up for kids, and I'm 5 foot, so things don't need to be high anyway.
exactly.
But
We're not reaching that top shelf. Let's be real.
so it like I just it's setting me up for success by setting them up for success. And I think if you don't have kids, you can still use a lot of the stuff I do, because set your house up for how it works for you. If it makes sense to not have socks in kids' bedrooms and you have or in your bedroom and have it by the door so you can grab socks on the way out the door, great, perfect. That's what you need to do. So it's all about finding a system that works for you in your house and not caring what it looks like to the outside. And once I let that go, like no one's going to judge me that I keep things where they are, then it's like, well, this is what works for us. Someone asks why, well, that's why, because it's what works. And I think once people can let that go, it's also a huge help.
For sure. No, that's exactly right. And I feel like you're so amazing at lifting others up and bringing them into your life and your world and really the reality show that is Soraya's universe. Because let me tell you, I'm pretty sure I would watch that reality show. I just need a loop of you like 24 hours a day, and I'm like, she is so good at this. I'm gonna do it too. But as someone that totally lifts me up and lifts others up, who or what inspires you and when you need that same really lift up and yeah.
Yeah, my husband has been so my husband and I started dating as freshmen in high school, and we actually did not go to the same high school. We met through mutual friends. So we started that relationship back then. So we grew up
Okay, I just
together.
got chills on that one. I just thought I'd let you know. Okay, I'm not getting emotional here, I promise.
So we've grown up together. So he knows my certain kind of crazy, and he knows what is my triggers, and he is totally the system. He knows what's going to set me off before it sets me off. And so he'd be like, "Okay, let's start doing this before mom starts losing it." And he is just like that sounding board. Like, I just need someone who gets how frustrating this is with our son. Like, I don't love him less, but I am frustrated to all bejesus over it. I need someone who's like, yeah, you're right. I see the Kool-Aid on the floor. I am just as frustrated as you are, to know that I'm not crazy for feeling frustrated about those things. But he's like, but we're not going to freak out about it. What we're going to do, he always says, take a breath and do the next thing. And then, so I'll be like, but this list says this. He goes, yep. And you're going to take a breath and do the next thing. And when that's done, you're going to take a breath and do the next thing. So I find myself like, all right, so I'm going to take a deep breath and I'm going to go do this. And then I'm going to take a deep breath and I'm going to do this. He's like, see, you're getting it. And it's just that system and that person who's been through all of the crazy. And I mean, literally every growing up, every crazy, every hard thing that has happened has been with him with me. So it definitely is nice. You're gonna eat that? Yeah. Sorry, he's stealing my lunch. Is going to just having that support system has been through that crazy and getting it, like he gets it, and then so he's definitely been my support system. And I love my social media friends and the polling the audience and what I should do and things like that, and having parents of another neurodivergent child be able to chat with it. But my husband, he has all those same things in the same northeast Wisconsin things that go on around us, who the same snow days, the same everything that's going on. He's been my biggest support system.
That's amazing. I love that so much. I've been with my husband since college, and so very similar. I mean,
Mhm.
we went through all the hard things together. I went with him to law school, and I did all of those things, and it was like the things that either it breaks you or it makes you, and
Yep.
it's so true. And having someone that understands it and gets you
Mhm.
and can be like, okay, go take that breath.
Yep.
I got
Mhm.
this. You go take
Yep.
your breath.
Yep.
And no, I love that. I love that so much. It's hard. You kind of feel, as a mom, I feel like we put so much on our own shoulders, and to have someone to do it with is huge, yeah, and moreover, you having the systems in place for your life and making it work for you, and
Mhm.
him being a part of it as well, and having
Yeah.
your true partner in it is something that really is inspiring. You have put together these systems. You've used One Thrive, you've used other organizing skills, and that just baffle me. And I want to be you when I grow up, Saraya. Um, we're pretty much the same age. It's fine, no big deal.
Yeah.
I'm gonna grow up one of these days. But
Mhm. But
maybe.
I can't tell you how many times I say, I need an adulty or adult to make this decision. Like, how am I the adult in this situation? Like, there's someone who has to be more adulty than me
Right,
to handle
exactly. I'm
this.
like, Why? But that's like when my kids' friends are over, and I'm like, but I'm still cool, right? Like, am I still the cool mom? And they're like, yeah, Sam, you're still cool. It's like, okay, good. I needed the validation there from the 10-year-olds in my life.
Yes, yes.
um, uh, so, being a mom that uses our One Thrive systems, and having it as such a part in your life and your day to day, like, do you what exactly, like, how does it really show up? I mean, we've gone through, your 3 systems and everything else,
Mhm.
but I kind of feel like your One Thrive is more of like a partner in your parenting style versus just being another tool in your house,
Yeah.
Like, yes, you have your husband and you have your children, but I feel like it's become so much more for you. So,
Mhm.
how does it reduce the decision fatigue and those dreaded what's happening today? And I know you've said you have your to-dos and I swear your organizational skills are just bar none. I really, you need to come out with a course, because, like, really, girl, I can't. But just talk me a little bit through, like, you know how it's kind of just taken that burden away from you.
Yeah, I mean, it really is putting it out of my brain and into onto something documentable. Um, because my family can't read my brain. So if you have it all in your mental load, you might be able to handle it, but then you have to handle it. And I think that's the biggest thing is by having it get out of my brain and onto something someone else can see. And they might not deal with it. Even if I wrote it down and it's all going to be me who does deal with it, then it's still I can't ask anyone for help if I can't tell them what the help is. So if I can get it all out of my head, then I can ask for help if I need it. And I think that was the biggest thing is it was getting it out of my brain and maybe like kind of like you were saying with the trip. Like I know I have to remember my passport, my money, and my inhaler. And I know that. But if I forget, there's one, nobody to second check me, and there's no like in front of my face reminding me. It can fall out of your brain. And I was finding a lot of things were falling out of my brain. So if I could just put it somewhere that it didn't literally fall away from, then I was going to remember it. Or I could say, can you do the things on the top two things on the to do board? Or can you take care of everything Nolan needs today? Or can you just do Stella's dance stuff? And that way I can like shift it off my plate if I'm asking for that help, and I don't have to say, okay, so today she has this and this, so if you could just go pack those bags. I just tell the color and it's gone, it's out. And that has been phenomenal for me. And like I said, for me too, even if I am the only one dealing with it, just having it not have to be here but written down in a semi-permanent location, that it's going to be there in 3 hours after I've done 47 other things, that it's still there. And that has been key to the whole house.
And I think that's a great takeaway, like, for the mom that is barely hanging on and feels like they can't do it all, and I think that that's a huge thing. Take it out of your brain, put it down on some paper, put it down on our wall organizing system or whatever works for you,
Yep.
and it will be there, and it's taking it out of the brain and onto something else, so then you can really figure out who can do what and other things, and so you're it's not all on you. We don't have to be on an island being the moms that can do it all. No mommy guilt here, right? Like,
Yep.
it's not necessary,
No.
and I think that that's a huge takeaway, that it's just taking it out of our brain and putting it
Mhm.
somewhere permanent so that it can be checked off and you can
Yes.
know that you've done it all. And of
And
course,
the
as a
power of
mom,
checking something off is phenomenal. I can't tell how many times I put shower and eat on a to-do list just to feel like I accomplished something today.
I love that. I love that. I am a proponent of to-do lists.
Yes.
I read a really fantastic article that was like, everyone should start their day with a to-do list to just get it out of
Yes.
your brain. And that's
Mhm.
exactly, how Soraya lives her life. She takes it out of her brain onto the One Thrive units, and that's how you make it work, right? You gotta get it out from here so then you can check it off. And what a fulfilling thing it is to check things off of a list, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, as
absolutely.
we're wrapping up here,
Mhm.
Soraya, how can all of our listeners follow you and continue to learn from your honesty, humor, and insight, and all the amazing things that makes the stay-at-home zookeeper so phenomenal and something that I am excited to watch every single day?
So I got in nice and early. So I am the same stay-at-home zookeeper on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I haven't been on TikTok as much lately. Once they kind of took it away, I was like, I'm just gonna not put my time there until I know for sure it's staying. But it is stay-at-home zookeeper in all three of those. And then the blog is stay-at-home-zookeeper.blog. So nice and simple. Everything's uniform. I love it. But yeah, stay-at-home zookeeper is where I am all the time, every day, sharing the daily life, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Exactly, exactly. I love it. I love how open and honest you truly are. Soraya, I can't thank you enough for being such a bright light for all of us parents everywhere online, especially those raising neurodiverse kids or navigating big emotions and little people. Your transparency is really a superpower. And I am so grateful to have you in my life. And, we could talk for hours and hours and hours. And I feel like I learned something new from you every time we speak. So I'm sure we'll get off and we'll talk in a little bit. But thank you again so, so much.
Yes,
I really appreciate all that you do for moms everywhere. I'm getting a little emotional here because I really do admire you, and I hope you know that. So thank you so much. And thank you to all of our listeners for staying here and listening to everything that we said today. And we love you. And you're not alone. We're here for you, mamas.
yes,
And keep thriving, right?
yes, for sure.
All right.
Thriving in the chaos.
Exactly. That's what we do. Thriving in organized chaos.
Yes.
Well, all right, everyone. Thanks again. I'm Sami Galbo. This is Soraya and our stay-at-home zookeeper, and we love her. And thank you so much. See
Thank
you soon.
you. Bye bye.
Bye.